Hello Umar, this is Hugh Fraser in Oxford in the UK with my opinion of the mainstream media's coverage of Trump. So I'm going to read it, I hope you don't mind. Trump's first presidency from 2017 to 2020 was a golden age for the mainstream media, but now that seems like their last hurrah. The first time around, newspapers like The Washington Post and The New York Times enjoyed a huge jump in paid-for subscriptions, and cable news channels like Fox, MSNBC and CNN had massive ratings. It was boom time. For the main part, they pumped out a never-ending stream of hysteria-filled anti-Trump hoaxes. He was a Russian agent. He was praised by far-right protesters. He told people to drink bleach. And above all, Russia, Russia, Russia. Their audiences, who at the time were suffering from mass hysteria and Trump derangement syndrome, lapped it all up. But eventually people grew weary of all this, and the media just went too far with its blatant propaganda. For years they claimed that President Joe Biden was as sharp as a tack, despite evidence to the contrary. When they could no longer lie about his dementia, I think that was the point when they lost all credibility. MSNBC's primetime audience has dropped 54% since Election Day, averaging a mere 53,000 in the key 25 to 54-year-old demographic. That's the age group that the advertisers want to reach. CNN, meanwhile, is grappling with primetime audiences averaging below 300,000 viewers. They're pretty old too. To compare, I think Fox, the more right-wing channel, has about 2.4 million audience. In the newspaper world, the Washington Post, a bastion of anti-Trump resistance, has been shaken up by its owner, Jeff Bezos. Bezos is, of course, the founder of Amazon, the online retail powerhouse, and he's a billionaire. Bezos intervened to block the Washington Post's planned endorsement of Kamala Harris, a decision that sparked outrage amongst its staff and reportedly led to a drop of about 250,000 subscribers. Post-election, Bezos has pivoted the paper's opinion section to focus exclusively on defending personal liberties and free markets, prompting resignations. It's a mystery why Bezos bought the Post in the first place, probably to suck up to Democrat interests in the US state. But in the Trump era, he's clearly taken a business decision that it's a liability, and he's prepared to lose readers because owning a loony left publication was damaging to his wider business interests. In the UK, the picture is not so clear. The mainstream media has been losing credibility for years, but it's more of a drip, drip, drip process. There's a lot of widespread resentment against the BBC, and about 500,000 people a year are cancelling their licences. Many others only pay up because they're harassed and threatened with prosecution by the BBC if they don't hand over the money. Young people don't watch it at all. The Prime Minister is deeply unpopular and people do turn to social media, but many hold back their opinions for fear of a knock on the door from the police. One grandmother was recently visited by the cops for a mild criticism of a Labour Party councillor. Even if you don't break the law, you can get a police record for a non-crime hate incident, just because somebody claimed to have anxiety over your opinion. So free speech is very much under threat in the UK. When our Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer visited Washington, Vice President J.D. Vance made American concerns about the state of free speech very clear to him. Whether he will take any notice remains to be seen. However, I think you can say that the UK press is united against Trump's efforts to get a peace deal between Russia and Ukraine. They entirely side with Zelensky, whom they treat as a kind of hero. The FT, which is a voice piece of the British elite, has dubbed Trump an enemy of the West. The Economist, which, like the FT, only the elite read, is calling the prospect of peace Europe's darkest hour. What do the British people think? It's hard to generalise, but for the most part I think we are jaded and cynical. People wonder why we have got money to give to Ukraine and the island of Mauritius when we are cutting back on heating for our old age pensioners. In the US, we've seen that many left-wing publications are kept afloat by government subscriptions. The government buys overpriced information services from those same newspapers as a hidden subsidy. In fact, the media around the world has been covertly sponsored by USAID and used to destabilise politicians who are against US interests. All this is coming to an end due to Elon Musk and his Department of Government Efficiency. I suspect that here in the UK much of the media is kept afloat by hidden subsidies from the government, universities, NGOs and the like. Most ordinary people look at the free headlines but do not pay to read much else. So, in conclusion, I don't think the media is nearly as powerful or relevant as it was in the first Trump presidency. It's limping along, but there's a big disconnect with ordinary people. The media will say what it says about Trump, but since they're just reflecting British and EU and elitist kind of government thinking, what they say has little or no influence over popular opinion. These days, the so-called news just echoes back what the powerful people think, because those people in power are the covert paymasters of the media. The Western media has little or no independence at all. Its business model was really broken by the online revolution. Newspapers used to have a lot of power when people bought a newspaper on the way to work. Not so much now. Most people are watching movies on Netflix or Amazon Prime or their favourite soap opera. The news really, well, people just deep down, they just don't trust it. They don't really believe in it. They may be influenced a bit by it, but I think they are aware that they're just being spoken to by a kind of permanent government that never changes whichever way they vote. And really, yeah, they will be influenced a bit by the sort of selective clips that the media feed them of the encounter between Zelensky and Trump. But really, deep down, there are questions in their mind about, why are we paying for this? Why does this war never end? Why are our fuel prices? Why has we got so much inflation? Why do we care about all of this? Why do these people want this war? I think it's beginning in a sort of drip way in Europe and the UK to come through. I think it was the penny has already dropped in the USA, so there is a difference. But what the media think and say, well, I just don't think it's quite so important as it was in the past. Anyway, this has been Hugh Fraser in Oxford for Umar Isa Dandigo. As always, it's a pleasure to give you my opinion, which probably doesn't align with your other guests, but it's a different perspective. Thank you, Umar.